News channels in Pakistan have been showing pictures of the compound in which Osama Bin Laden was killed. The footage shows the inside of the compound on fire. The two-story building, hidden behind high-security walls, is located in Abbottabad, less than 50 miles north of the capital Islamabad. Despite the town's proximity to tribal areas where Islamist extremists have established strongholds, the town is firmly under government control, with thousands of troops based there. Since the 9/11 attacks, rumours have suggested that Bin Laden had found shelter in caves in Afghanistan, but security sources on both sides of the Atlantic have long said they believed he was actually in Pakistan. He is understood to have slipped through the net as US Special Forces closed in on his Afghan mountain hideout of Tora Bora in the wake of the fall of the Taliban in 2001.
Last August, after years of painstaking work by our intelligence community, I was briefed on a possible lead to bin Laden. It was far from certain, and it took many months to run this thread to ground. I met repeatedly with my national security team as we developed more information about the possibility that we had located bin Laden hiding within a compound deep inside Pakistan. And finally, last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. A small team of Americans carried out the operation with extraordinary courage and capability. No Americans were harmed. They took care to avoid civilian casualties. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body. For over 2 decades, bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country and our friends and allies. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda. Yet his death does not mark the end of our effort. There is no doubt that al-Qaeda will continue to pursue attacks against us. We must, and we will, remain vigilant at home and abroad. The American people did not choose this fight. It came to our shores and started with the senseless slaughter of our citizens. After nearly 10 years of service, struggle, and sacrifice, we know well the costs of war. These efforts weigh on me every time I, as Commander-in-Chief, have to sign a letter to a family that has lost a loved one, or look into the eyes of a service member who's been gravely wounded. So Americans understand the costs of war. Yet, as a country, we will never tolerate our security being threatened, nor stand idly by when our people have been killed. We will be relentless in defense of our citizens and our friends and allies. We will be true to the values that make us who we are. And on nights like this one, we can say to those families who have lost loved ones to al-Qaeda's terror, justice has been done.
Hundreds gather outside the White House to celebrate the news Osama bin Laden is dead. There's equally joyful scenes in New York, people glad the 10-year manhunt for the al-Qaeda leader is now over.
Very excited about it. I think it helps the psyche of all the Americans and people around the world.
I feel ecstatic that we finally have captured and contained what the worst threat in the country and the world is, and that finally our country could be at rest and at peace with the situation that has happened in September 11th.